Hey, welcome. We are kicking off a very special Lenten series, and we're going to walk with Jesus step by step from the wilderness all the way to the resurrection. My real hope is that by the time Easter gets here, this whole journey will be something that's really changed you. So let's dive in. When you think about the start of Jesus's public ministry, you'd probably expect something grand. But that's not what happened. There were no cheering crowds, no spectacular miracles, not even a sermon. It all begins in solitude, in silence, and in struggle. It begins in the wilderness. So for our reflection today, we're going to dig into the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 4, just verses 1 and 2. We're going to lock in on three key things: where Jesus was, how he even got there, and what on earth that means for you and me today. That's it. Just 2 verses. It's amazing, right? But inside these 2 little sentences is a whole universe of meaning. 40 days of Jesus' life, a moment that shaped his entire ministry, it's all packed right in here. Okay, so the first thing that just jumps right off the page is that number, 40. Now, for the original Jewish audience reading this, that number would have been absolutely electric. It immediately makes you think of Moses on the mountain for 40 days, or Israel wandering in the desert for 40 years. See, this wasn't just some random number. It was the signal that, hey, Jesus is stepping right into the story of his people. Now, to really get the weight of this moment, we first have to understand the where. What was the wilderness? Because in the Bible, it's so much more than just an empty, sandy place. In the ancient world, the wilderness wasn't a place you'd go for a scenic hike. No way. It was a place of testing, kind of like a spiritual forge. It's the place where everything you normally rely on, food, comfort, community, it all gets stripped away. And it's there you find out what you're really made of. It's where you're left with absolutely nothing but God. And we see this pattern all through the Bible. The wilderness is where Israel had to learn the hard way to depend on God. It's where Moses had that life-changing encounter at the burning bush. It's where the prophet Elijah, when he was at his absolute lowest, was met and restored by God. It has always been the ultimate proving ground. Okay, so now we know where he was. But the next question is maybe even more important. How did he get there? And the answer, well, it's one of the most powerful details in this whole story. And this is just so crucial. Jesus didn't just stumble into the wilderness by accident. He wasn't pushed there by tough circumstances, and he certainly wasn't abandoned. The Bible is crystal clear. He was led there by the Spirit of God. This wasn't a detour. This was the plan. Now, this is where it gets really fascinating. The Greek word that's used here for tempted is peirazō, and this word has this incredible double meaning. On one hand, it means to tempt, to try and lure someone towards sin. But it can also mean to test, to prove, to refine, to reveal the real quality of someone's character. And that's the tension at the very heart of this story. You have these 2 totally opposite intentions happening in the exact same event. The devil is there to tempt, to lure, to destroy. His whole goal is failure. But God's intention, it's to test, to prove, to transform. His goal is to reveal his son's perfect love and trust. It's the same wilderness, but with 2 completely different purposes at play. So this brings this whole ancient story right into our lives today. Because, let's be honest, we all go through our own wilderness seasons, right? Those times of difficulty, of dryness, of feeling totally isolated. So what does this story have to say to us? And that leads me to ask you a question. Just think about your own life. That hard season you might be walking through right this minute. Is it possible that this isn't an accident? That you weren't just abandoned here, but that you were actually led here for a purpose? It's so easy for us to believe that if life is hard, God must be far away, that our struggle is a sign that he's absent. But this story of Jesus in the wilderness flips that idea completely on its head. Sometimes the Spirit leads us straight into the place of difficulty. So what if we could start to reframe how we see those seasons? What if your wilderness isn't some kind of punishment, but it's actually an invitation to a place where all the noise falls away and God can do his deepest, most life-changing work in you? That's what it was for Jesus, and you know what? It can be for us too. To finish up our time together, I'd love it if you just join me in a short prayer, letting the truth of this sink in for our own Lenten journeys. Lord, just as your Spirit led Jesus into the wilderness, we choose to trust that you are leading us too. Even when we can't make sense of the season we're in, help us believe that you are right here with us. In those seasons of emptiness and silence and struggle, just remind us that we are not alone. Remind us that you are with us in every single one of those desert moments. Would you prepare us and refine us and sustain us as we walk through this Lenten journey with you? Let this be more than just information. Let it be a real encounter with you.
We trust you with our wilderness. In Jesus' name, amen.
And as you go from here, I'll just leave you with this to think about. What does your wilderness look like this Lent? And in that quiet, stripped-down place, what do you sense God might be preparing you for? Thanks for joining me.